I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me, and he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
Well, we're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening. So wake up with Michele Meiche, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening. Understand what living awake is.
Hello, you beautiful, radiant, awakening souls. Living more and more awake. How are you all doing? You're new to this podcast. I'm Michele, and it's great to have you having a pit stop, and maybe you'll journey with us more. It's a great community, a lot of really great guests that we have on the program. In fact, today on the podcast, we have Lon, L-O-N. You may want to check out her. Some of you may know her. She's been on before. Kind of have lots of friends of the tribe, friends of the community, friends of the family. But you can go to Lon Art, Lon, Lon-art.com if you want to get a sneak peek. She's got amazing oracle cards as well. We usually do deep dive into energy, soul expression, a little bit of quantum aspect of physics, sacred geometry, because she does have sacred geometry cards that are amazing. So that'll be the second half of the program. And if you welcome in the chat, let me know how my sound is, because I'm in a different location. I've been on the move. We're going to talk a bit about that. 347-539-5122 is the number to listen by phone. Now, if you want a reading or you have a question or a comment, anything you want to share, and then definitely if you want a psychic reading or tarot reading, I tune in psychically and I channel the spiritual hierarchy and oversouls, but I also do tarot, numerology, pendulum, astrodice. So you can even ask your pick. We can do it all. And also numerology. Again, number 347-539-5122 and press 1 on the keypad. So I just want to give a little bit of, let's see. Well, before I go into that, just remind everyone I'm really wanting to grow the YouTube channel, Soul Insights and Tarot with Michele Meiche. So you can either do a search for Michele Meiche or Soul Insights in Tarot or Soul Insights Tarot. I'm going to be having other offerings. In fact, we are bringing Awakenings podcast. We are bringing the podcast finally. I know people asked me to do it years and years ago, 10 years ago even. All in time, though, we are bringing that to YouTube, so there will also be a visual component, and Awakening Conversations is coming there. So very much extending. But if you want more connection, support, and insights for your soul path, I do suggest that you subscribe, get the notifications at at Soul Insights. All about the soul, always have been, and soul is getting more and more popular, which makes me happy. Also, if you want to do a deeper dive into metaphysics and spiritualism, not just spirituality, but spiritualism, the occult, ritual, looking at the quantum aspect and the interconnection of the as above is so below in life. If you want to do a deeper dive, you can connect with me on Patreon. Again, you can just do a search. My name will come up. I think there was something with Tarot, Awakening Tarot, or Michele Meiche. You can find me with Michele Meiche. Let's see, other ways to connect. Mentor Cam, there's a link in the description of this podcast. Soulplayground.life and Instagram. Oh, yes. Come on and connect with me on Instagram, and let's travel more. I've had more support, so I'm able to do more offerings, Yes. So that is also, if any of you have a passion for video or editing or anything like that, you can email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. Also, guest suggestions, topic suggestions, anything awakenings, please email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com. Oh, now we have the little, I'm going to have to shut the other door. You're going to hear little doggies. You're going to hear little monkey who is in a Yorkshire Terrier, a Yorkie body this lifetime. And you're going to hear Dorje, who is in a Chihuahua body this lifetime. Very advanced beings. They ask that I take care of them while their mommy is doing sacred service, sacred ritual in Costa Rica, and they came to me first, monkey, the little Yorkie, not just in meditation or on the astral plane, just throughout the day. I don't want to go. Take care of me. Take care of us. We want to stay with you. And then come to find out Costa Rica is not that doggy friendly, and especially for little doggies. It's a little and hot or whatever, rainy season. So anyway, guys, if everybody speaks to us, if we listen, if we really know, I mean, the flowers, the trees. Yes, I'm a psychic channel and a medium, and I do, communication with animals. To me, animals or people, it doesn't matter. I can read all of it psychically. But that doesn't mean that you can't do that as well. A lot of times the things that you're doing in your life, especially around food or going out, it's your little animal being pushing you to, do something. I have to remember sometimes with them, and also those of you that knew when I had Yoshi, I would be like, I don't have this image or this picture. You're going to hear me moving around because I got to give them a little bone, a little healthy, edible chew treat. Otherwise, it's kind of like a little 2-year-old. Even though they're very wise, that's why I keep looking at, especially the little Yorkie. I'm like, God, you were so wise. You came to me telepathically. You gave me these visions about what was going on or what you wanted. And yet, just like us as humans, and yet you have we have our human side. They have their animal being side, the more instinctual side, that is kind of eat, play, poop and sleep. Yet they're also very advanced. All right, guys. Again, 347-539-5122 is the number. And press 1 on your keypad. So I just want to touch, before we get to callers, so be patient, callers, with your questions. And don't disappear on me. Don't go too far, because sometimes people press 1 on the keypad, so when I click on your number, it unmutes. It's unmuted. And then they disappear. Then they get busy. I got it. So I want to give you guys a heads up, because that's kind of what I do. And maybe you've been noticing this in yourself as well, is that there is a dissolving of the persona. Now, I'm also a therapist, so I do know the importance of the ego aspect of our being from a psychological, developmental point of view. And even as a hypnotherapist, we have what we call ego strengthening processes. So the true ego, where our confidence comes from, or our confidence helps build this aspect of us, is very important and is needed and necessary. Yes, it does have this survival aspect to it as well, instinctual. It's the part that gets patterned or repatterned. Our soul is a design or a pattern, but it doesn't it doesn't follow conditioned response patterns. And unfortunately, sometimes our ego has a lot of conditioned response patterns. So we're not really responding authentically. And we could call that the persona, right? Like a mask, like you go to those masquerade parties and they got all these fancy masks. Some people have very plain masks. Some people have very fancy masks. Some people have a whole slew of masks. Whip one on, whip one off. I was hearing something earlier today on a podcast on YouTube that was Popcorn Planet. And I watch and I listen to, every now and then I do a kind of a deep dive into what's going on in regular media, right? Terrestrial media, if you want to call it. More mature, because there you will see the signs of where the awakening is happening. And I look for keywords or key phrases, which is part of what I was trained in the type of inner work that I do. And so you're starting to hear, all of you have heard me talk about more soul awakening, the awakening finance, awakening education, the soul of the nation. Our President Biden did a talk, and he keeps talking about the soul of the nation. You know, there's a struggle. Remember, they all have higher selves too, and they're tapped in. Now, there may be a misuse of power, which some of you may call evil. There may be a different agenda than what you have or other people have, but we're all interconnected and from the same source. So they're getting the information, the energetic packets, if you will, units of information and up-leveling. But remember, whatever we're channeling or downloading or receiving, it still has to go through our filters, us, our persona, our ego. So if we have a lot of conditioned response patterns and unhealed or unhandled wounding, that's going to skew things. That's going to give it a different perspective. So you might be noticing within yourself or other people that things are a little raw or getting more and more raw, meaning you might feel a little more vulnerable or like you're hanging out over to dry, or like what I always say is like, for those of you in the United States, you'll understand this, like you're hanging over the Grand Canyon just by tweezers. Spirit, God, the universe is the big tweezer, and you're just hanging over there. For my international listeners, just look up Grand Canyon. So you might feel a bit displaced right now. One of the things that's happening is the persona, the mask or masks are dissolving, so that more and more what remains is the soul, more and more undiluted spiritual energy, more and more energy focus, and more of the design or matrix from the soul. So there's this dissolving of these conditioned response patterns to get us to respond more authentically, more in the flow of our true nature. So you might be feeling that right now. And in a way, what this does is it focuses more on your differences, your uniquenesses, to bring them or uniqueness into the world more, to live them out, to have more soul expression, heart connection, and heart opening, which is courage, kudos. So every new level or opening into more soul expression requires some level of courage. Now, courage, coming from the Latin word kudos, I can't remember the old French, it might be kudos too. I think Latin is kudos. Anyway, something about center, and it comes from the old English word for heart. And core, kudos, core, center. So the center of our being and what aligns our, not in a high-low, but let's say more of our transpersonal, transcendent aspects of being into the body and into the earth plane is the heart. It has to go through the center of the body. So in a way, we have above the heart the as above, and below the heart as below. And both are important. That doesn't mean that there's not spiritual energy or higher vibrational frequency energy in the lower chakras or on the earth, in the middle earth. There are, because in truth, we're not really vertically, we're vertical and horizontal. We manifest as one big creator cell or one big vortex comprised of many vortices, right? So, we're all this spiraling energy. You might call it, fractal, a spiral of energy that could be looked at as one huge spiral of consciousness made manifest, of aspect of the unified field of consciousness, or many little parts, particles, wavelengths. There's just so many ways to look at it, right? So you're going to be feeling like, oh, I got to step into this next thing. And it's, can I do it? Should I do it? And I would just say follow your heart, the opening. Not wild emotion, not getting caught up in emotion or emotionalism, but what is the true feeling, the nudge that you're getting? Someone asked me the other day, how do you know you're on the right track or being guided? And I was like, well, you get this nudge. It's kind of a steady, persistent, quiet, calm nudging. There's an urge. You can literally, when you connect into the subtle energy, you can literally feel like the energy of life itself, right? The innate intelligence, which is life itself. You can literally feel it coursing through you and moving you in a certain way, a certain direction. It's very subtle. It becomes more and more palpable, that you can really more feel it and see it, hear it, as you follow it more. Just like anything else on the earth plane, what we do gets stronger and stronger, what we consistently do over time. And that's something to remember with manifesting also, is that it's not your fleeting thoughts that manifest, it's what you consistently think about. You know, it persists. Whether it's a resistance or a focus on something, a fear, it doesn't matter. Where you're putting your consistent energy, attention, and focus, that is what is going to be drawn into some approximation, of what you want. Now, it could be a facsimile, all right? It could be a fax of what you want. It could be a falsity of what you want. It might not really be what it is, you know. That depends on where you're at in your cycle of the soul path and how clear you are and how many conditioned response patterns you have. How many blocks do you have that are literally pushing away what it is that you want, that you dearly want? Something to think about, my radiant soul light. Shall we get to callers? I think so. 347-539-5122. Let's tune in. See what people have to say. Hi, you're on air. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hello.
You're so welcome. Hi, can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Hi.
What's
your first name?
Question. My name is Jay.
Okay, hi, Jay.
And this is Michele I'm talking to, or Lauren, or your guest?
This is Michele, but the guest will be on in about half an hour. You can always hang out longer and listen.
Yeah, well, I do actually have a question, and in regards to, if it's about the topic for today, sacred geometry, what would you use for sacred geometry to create peace in the workplace?
God, that's going to be a good one for Lon as well. Wow.
Or pull a card for today and see what I can resolve and why is this happening to me a second time at the workplace, because it's drama related and it's also getting into discrimination or bullying right now. So I'm not sure which way to go on this. So, Yeah. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So one of the things you want to remember that whenever we're using any kind of tool or focusing, it is a sense of the form of ritual. So it could be sacred geometry, it could be incense, it could be, a spiral, which is part of sacred geometry. Anything that we're using, we have to align with our intention. And part of what you're saying, too, does fit in with what I was saying earlier on in the podcast. We have to look at our conditioned response patterns. What are we conditioned to do and to believe about ourselves, other people, and situations? So we have to look at our relating patterns. So it's kind of like having affirmations or mantras, but if we don't alter or change on the subconscious, it either takes a lot longer to break through or it really doesn't. So they work together. Now, what I love is I think what cuts through for a lot of things is the Merkaba, because it connects into the highest vibrational frequency of us, our higher self. So anytime we're addressing any issue with ourselves, with another person, with the universe, life itself, our life path, if we can get that, connect into the higher self, the greater wisdom of the all that is that's coming through ourselves. One of the things that you can do also, I call it as above as so below, is drawing on anything, like if you have an issue or a concern, drawing a triangle, an upward triangle, right, was part of the Merkaba with the point at the top,
right,
and then drawing an inverted triangle. Okay, that again is aligning to the higher vibrational frequency. So that 6-pointed star, that also connects you into the tree of life, the energy of the magical spheres, which is where it's tapping into manifestation. So then it's asking yourself, what do I truly want to manifest? What do I want to manifest in this situation? Well, you want to manifest the highest vibrational frequency, the highest potential of the situation. So the only way that we can really do that on the human level is we have to extend or expand in the higher vibrational frequency of us. We have to extend or expand through the subtle energy into the unified field of consciousness. Now, in the unified field of consciousness, the people or situation that are part of the problem, you're going to meet them in the higher vibrational frequency, which we also call inner plane work. So that's where you want to go for your solutions. And whether you draw that star, you wear something that has it, drawing it while you're meditating and focusing on the situation before you have a meeting or go into work or wherever the connection is, wherever the issue is, you're saying, as above, as so below. I am tapping into not only of the higher vibrational frequency of myself, right, of you, but of the situation, and I'm bringing it to the earth. I'm grounding it. I'm anchoring it. I'm bringing it into physical form. Okay, so you're tapping into the highest potential of the all that is in the particular situation that you're in. Okay? All right.
Let's try that and see what happens.
Yeah, try that, see what happens. I don't know if Lon's listening, or when she comes on, she may have a different take, but that, I find any time we extend or expand into that part through our higher selves, which is the higher vibrational frequency of us, you meet that person. You can even ask from that point of view what's needed or why are they doing this. Not from the ego level of your ego wounding or how they've hurt you or how it's been unfair, but getting the higher perspective of what's going on. And then what is your piece or part in it also, right?
Right.
And I've definitely seen that shift things. I've seen that in groups that I've worked with. I've seen that with individual clients that I've worked with. You know, as soon as we ascend into that higher aspect, beyond the extremes of the polarity plane or playing out duality, that's things start to shift. There's the morphing.
Okay.
All right, keep us posted, okay?
Yeah, thanks so much for your wisdom.
You're welcome.
Have a great.
Good care. Have a great one too. You too. Hi, you're on air.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, Michelle. It's Mitchie.
I knew you were going to call in today. Welcome.
No way.
I did. You came in my meditation earlier, and because I was thinking about this being up in the air, what I was talking about earlier in the podcast, like how so many people are up in the air. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you know what? I wasn't able to hear yet I wasn't able to hear your first part yet because I'm actually at work in the airport, and I'm at work. I'm going to be up in the air soon.
So my prediction,
I'm going to be flying soon.
Job back.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, good, because that was one of the came in your reading. I remember you called in or something, or I don't remember.
Yes.
Oh, good.
I got it back, and this is my first trip that I started 2 days ago. This is it. So I got back.
Yay.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Yay. I'm so happy I came through. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
My question to you now. My question to you is, now I have a situation with my ex, and he kind of wants to keep the kids until the end of the school year, and I don't want that. And it's a long story, but That's essentially what he wants to do, and I don't want that. And I want to know, what should I do to get them back before, I just bought a house, by the way, and I'll be moving in October 23rd, and I was thinking of getting the kids back by November 1st. But he doesn't want
to. Yeah, you're going to have to flow with it.
I'm going to have to leave them there with him?
You may, yeah. Well, whatever it is, I'm hearing you have to flow with it. So I don't know what that means for you. There may be some things that are a little bit out of control, is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Okay, out of the situation. How you're wanting to get back with? Go ahead.
No, I want the kids to be back with me, and he all of a sudden wants to keep them until June, when before he wasn't even taking care of them.
Right. So unless you're going to court or something, because I feel like there's some things that are going to be a little out of your control in regards to them. Yeah.
I don't want that. I really don't. And I
know. Yeah, but you're asking something that isn't really. It's a process thing. Okay, it's not really. Okay. There's like no magic. You have some stuff that you have to deal with him, so he doesn't have stuff hanging like this hanging over you. That's what this is about. Just like you had to kind of stand up for yourself, and it ended up, with hardship, but it ended up being okay. The job came back. There's something similar with this situation.
Michelle, these are my babies. I don't like having them away from me like this, and these are my kids. And then he doesn't really, I don't think he cares. I think it's because he doesn't want to pay child support.
It's a power struggle. Yeah, it's a power struggle.
Yeah, with him.
The money. But
with him, yeah.
You just went, but the thing is, I get it. I'm just channeling his mind, what he's thinking, his state. It's not a degree of, I'm being neutral, but the thing is, and I get where you're at, but it's a similar situation that you had with the work situation. He's part of that energy. So you have to deal with him, it can't be, because I feel like it's the money, but it's also the power struggle, He's seeing you as very strong.
For him,
yeah. So you're going to have to deal with it in a way that it doesn't come up anymore. Something's left hanging is what I'm hearing.
Okay, so that would be going to court?
Well, it may be that, or a legal letter, or that you have a different agreement with him. You see what I'm saying? Because right now there's something, I don't, this is just a mini reading, but I feel something is hanging. It's unfinished. There's a loophole. And you've been able to he's been busy or doing other things. So, maybe he sees you moving and you got the house and he sees you doing better than him. And so here's the power grab. Here's the power play. So you have to do something that just doesn't come in. Mm-hmm.
So what if I just take the kids, because there's no real agreement, there's no court ordered, nothing. So really it's me. I brought the kids to him because, so what if I just take them and that's it?
You can do that, but it's still going to be open. You're still going to have to
I feel
deal
like
with
he
him.
could retaliate, quote unquote. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You've been doing it this way, and it's worked so far because he's been focused on other things. He's been busy. I don't know if he had a girlfriend or what's going on, but I do feel like you're up-leveling, and sometimes people like this, they smell that. You've got the house, you're moving on, and so here's the power play. So I wouldn't overreact or do anything rash, but you have to, like I like to say, you have to seven of swords it. You have to strategize a bit on, I don't want this coming up all the time, so I'm going to have these better boundaries.
Right, because, all right. The thing is, I found a lawyer, but she's like, she costs ridiculous. It's ridiculous what she charges. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to get a lawyer into this right away, right now.
because it's going to be all this money to get to court and et cetera.
You don't have to rush. You don't have to rush into it, but it may even be just a letter. It may be mediation. I don't know. But right now, you're not emotionally stable to make a decision. You're pissed. You're upset. You want to leave, and now you got to deal with this crap. You know what I mean? So I get it. So you got to kind of center, and then you got to kind of stealthily plan things out, and then go, okay, I don't want to have to go through this again. What are my options? And that might be talking to a lawyer or mediator or somebody or reading up on something. I just feel like if you leave it open-ended, you're going to come around. This is going to be a cycle every now and then. It may die down, but then it'll come back again.
Okay, so I have to wrap it up, nip it in the bud, and get it, tied legally, whatever. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I may not be repeating it properly, but I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, I am pissed, and I know that it's a power grab because he has nothing going on, and he just wants to get back at me. But at the same time, also in this moment, I kind of feel like I'm weak, like he has power over me. I'm kind of feeling that, and I don't like that feeling. No, because both of you have been doing the power over and under power. You were feeling very powerful and maybe moving things, manipulating things around, and he was feeling underpowered. But he was semi-underpowered, but he was busy doing other things. I don't know what was going on with him. But you don't, in your next level, Missy, you don't have the time, the energy for what it is that you want to do. You can't be strong-arming him. You can't be holding up this defensive energy shield. Do you get it, what I'm saying? Right.
You've been doing that to make things work in the way that you want to. You need support, and sometimes support is an outside situation or person or influence or an outside agreement, so you don't have to keep on the astral plane, holding this up and emotionally, you're just like, it's like walking down a street that's like an alleyway in a city it's dark, and you know that, maybe there's gangs or something around. And so we don't just kind of stop, we puff ourselves up and we walk fast. You've been holding that energy, and it's time to release it. Your soul's like, okay, done. We know you can do that. We know you can hold that space. You can hold that space. You can do that when you need to. You can do that for yourself, for your baby. But you don't want to do that as you go in more and more into your next level of soul expression and soul, experience. Because that takes a lot of energy away from self-expression or creative expression.
Right.
All right, sweetie, keep us posted.
Okay. Will do. Thank you, love. Back to you. Take care.
Bye. Hi, you're on air. Welcome. Hello.
Hello there, Michelle. It's Sunray.
Another one I thought of the other day. Okay, I'm getting the messages on the astral.
Are you? Were you just meditating and thinking about me as well this morning?
Yeah, well, I've been doing a lot of readings, and also where I'm at, it's been extra hot, so I've been inside more, with a massive air on. I've been outside a little bit here and there, under the trees and stuff. But I've been doing a lot of readings, a lot of meditation, and just and also these reels that I've been doing for Instagram. So I kind of I'm tuning in with those. And I don't know, people have just been flashing, coming in, visiting. Because I also feel a lot of is with the persona dissolving, it's feeling a little like shifting sand, and people are kind of reaching out energetically, not just to me, but to the universe. And, that's what I'm picking up on, that reaching out, like.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely on it. Things are, speaking of shifting sands or shifting winds or shifting frequencies, everything that's shifting, that's fluid. I would say I'm going through this thing where, this guy that I really like, he's moved to California, and I don't know when he will be back. But then there's also this other person I started talking to recently, but then some health things happened to my body, so I had to shift focus. But you reminding me of when you told me to write down 4 things I wanted to accomplish, and then also 10 qualities that I see of myself that I love in myself. So I wrote this down. One of the things I wrote down that I wanted to create, falling in love, having that relationship. And so I've now through the summer, now at the end of summer, I've had plenty of opportunities and have met so many guys. And but now I'm finding myself, still in a space, a little uncertain. And I just don't know if, Paolo said the end of the year. But I'm not. I'm
getting is you are having situations of love manifested, universal love, the love that you through these situations. But you do have to keep bringing it back to you, whatever you need to focus on, or your health, whatever your goals are, your vision. Goals are those little steps. I like to call them also plans. And then I feel someone is going to be there on the path, with you and for you, but you can't plan. That's part of this dissolving. It's we're really being more and more guided through our higher self, which is our soul coming through. So it's a different type of navigation system. So I'm not sure. I'm not feeling the person around you right now. It could be this person that left and that may come back, or maybe you move. See, one of the things, Sunray, and this is for everyone also, that because I'm so feeling it in you, and I felt it in Mitchie with this, there's this, we're being transplanted in a way. I don't know how to explain it.
Sure, we're moving from one state to another state, right? So if you're moving one state to another state, you used to be in this state, and that state could be a physical state, or it could be a state a state of mind.
Yes. Well, it's always a state of mind, vibration, and consciousness, but it may manifest as a city or a state or a way of living. But right now, to kind of get the conditioned response patterns and old beliefs kind of shaken off, there is a lot of transitional energy, which means a lot of the unknown that we can't map out. But the one thing that I know the guides have been sharing with me is that we have to remember that things are coming together even though we don't see it, or it may feel and look like to us that we're not doing all we can to make it happen. But it's we've set things in motion, and now it starts moving around in the etheric plane. And then as it gets closer into the denser physical reality, then we respond to that, whether it's etherically through an inside inspiration or through the spirit realm. So you need to focus back on whatever it is you need to do in the moment, knowing that your intention, your dream, your vision, your plan is coming together. That way that you can just respond to it. So you've already done enough action is what I'm hearing. You need to allow yourself to be in the position to magnetically attract, to draw in. It's interesting. I was just listening, which I have to write myself a little note. I want to repost this saying that I did. I was interviewed on Maria Menounos, Conversations with Maria. And I was saying, it came up. I was watching something else on YouTube, and then my own short came up with my thing, and I was like, oh, this is good. I got to listen to this. And so I know, I was like, oh, it's her face on the thing, so I didn't know if it was something that she was saying, and then when I clicked on it, I was being interviewed by her, and so it was something I was saying. One of them was, don't accept what you don't want. And the other thing was, which I was like, oh, Michelle, that was a good one, was that when we're manifesting what we don't really make something happen. And to some degree or create it, we draw it in. We set up the circumstances or situation to then draw it in.
So it's kind of like having a great party, right? Or going to you have all the elements there. Maybe you have
that makes sense.
Right?
Having like a trap, like you're creating. Like let's say you're in the forest and you're hunting for food or whatever, a rabbit. So you create the circumstances in that area for capturing that rabbit by setting up a trap. And that makes sense.
Yes.
So it's not. I'm not like all of a sudden I want rabbit and then it happens in my hand. I have to actually do the work, and then once I've done the work, I have to trust that my trap is there, and just continue living, and then come back to it to see.
Yes.
What has
and then you're in alignment, then you become in alignment with the inspired action, the action steps that you needed to do. You put and the intention of and that's the universe completes it. It's manifesting from a different perspective. So like kind of where we thought that manifestation takes lots of action and work is like the old operating system, and now we're operating from a new system of manifestation through intention and focus. Yes. Well, what I will share with you is the problem is there's so much misinformation out there. Because if you really, in all the books, all the CDs, Secret, all of that, that's been my pet peeve for many years. But now people are starting to realize, that really doesn't work. I can't use the law of magnetic attraction. You're not using anything. You're doing what you do. You're setting up the circumstances. And if you look at it, this is how we have always created or manifested. We set up the circumstances and then draw it in. We ready ourselves. It's like we ready the soil and then we plant the seed. We don't get in the soil and make the seed sprout and make the sprout turn into a branch and make it turn into a flower and magnetize it and go. We don't stand over there and go, I'm drawing in a flower. I'm magnetizing a flower. I'm doing the law of magnetic. I'm drawing in from. No. Hello. Right here, right? That makes sense. Oh my God. Well, I guess time. I guess our perception of time is silly. Like you can think of time as something that is like day to day. It's very slow, and it's like, oh man, it's taking forever. Or you can like watching the water to boil. Like you're just watching, and then time's going so slow. Whereas time is not really slow. It doesn't really even exist. So if you just walk away from the water, the seed, then it like all of a sudden boils and it like cooks. Okay. Yes. Yes. It's both. It's the watching. It's how do you remind yourself of that in those moments? Sorry. How do you remind yourself of those? Like, because it's like, okay, so we know these things, but when moments come up where you're like, oh man, I just, really am thinking of that person or thinking of that situation that I'm manifesting, and it's not there. Like, what is something that you do? A couple things. I'm open in my frustration. I either remind myself, or like what happened today is I pulled in actually an interview of me saying this what I already know that I need to remember. You see what I'm saying? So I'm aligned, and I keep myself aligned. And if I'm not in alignment, I bring myself into alignment of I need the confirmation affirmation, or I need the truth, I have the reality. And then I draw that in, whether it's a reading, a person, a situation, a flash of my own insight, or reminding myself, or like today, how it happened today. So. And I'm reminded, we don't, like you said it perfectly, we set up the situation and circumstances. That's the electrical part. That's the male part of us. But, in truth, when we draw in or magnetize, we draw in by vibration. We don't have to make ourselves draw in. It's like a magnet. A magnet doesn't, it just draws in. You put the magnet and whatever's metal comes to it. Whatever's in the alignment of the magnet comes to it. So you just have to remember that you're living your life. And you also have to remember that a lot of our creations take a long time, and sometimes we have been focused or trying to draw in or manifest something 3 or 4 or 3 to 5 years. And so sometimes these older remnants of these manifestations come through, and we have to kind of let them come through and then let them dissolve, let the energy of them dissolve for what we're now focused on, right?
To make room for, okay. Wow.
Well, it's not necessarily make room. It's actually a requalifying of the energy of change. So sometimes something that we wanted, let's say a few months ago or years ago, it finally comes in, but we've shifted. So, and sometimes it's, I don't want that. I didn't want that anymore. I did. But it's like, okay, but at one time you did want a version of that. So we just have to know, okay, this is something better. This is coming in. Now the energy, it came in, but that's not your focus. You don't reject it. You just allow that energy, that picture or image or the facsimile of what it is you wanted to create. You let it come in or through your life, and you just don't engage. You just let it be, or you minimally engage, and then it automatically starts up leveling to more of the ideal of what you want. What blocks a lot of our higher vibrational manifestations is the resistance to what is. We start resisting. Oh, it's not happening. It's not happening. Not happening the way I want. I don't want this one. I wanted it this way. I wanted it that way. And so that resistance muckies up the energy. Now we're tangling with the energy where it's becoming enmeshed. We're enmeshed. It can't freely flow. But if we allow it and acknowledge it, it automatically goes into what's most life enhancing and then aligns to the new vision and version. If we accept what is and just allow it to move through. Sunray Radiant Light, I get back to you forever. You spark the channel to open wider.
Let's keep the current flowing then.
Yes, that's it. Keep the current flowing. That is it. Yes. All right, Sunray, you take good care. Be in touch.
Oh, likewise. Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye. Hello, you're on Awakening. Hello, hello.
Hi, Michelle. This is Kate.
Hey, Kate. Welcome.
Thank you. I moved a couple months ago, and it seems like the winds are moving toward actually not really settling yet, but I mean the same area, but it's like long-term things are coming up for me, opportunities.
Yeah.
And so I'm just seeing what I'm looking
That's
for now.
Why I did you're not going to know. That's why I did the talk at the beginning of the podcast, the channeling. You're hanging by tweezers over the Grand Canyon right now. And you just got to be where you're at and follow the flow, the urge or the nudge of what it feels like you need or want to do, where you're being guided. So you're going to be in transition, I feel, a bit more. You haven't yet landed. You've landed, right, but you haven't. It's like you're at base camp. There's more camps to go. And many people are in that position right now because I do feel the close of the year, but for sure next year there's going to be another mass exodus. So those people that feel stuck are going to finally get their mission, their moving papers, and land. The other thing is, I got to tell you, and those of you that are in Patreon, I talked about this in the channeled information from the guides, the original visions I got about the pandemic, the virus, what the government's doing, the trilateralists, the cabal, whatever you want to call them all, elitists, corporatocracy, technocracy, whatever in the heck. There's a lot of people, you're going to be a lot of people more nomadic for periods of time, like different places that you go to connect with different people or stay with different people, flat or house swapping or coming and staying. Yeah. So there is this idea, of mobility, right? And I feel that around you, Kate. There is this idea, I even saw the other day advertised something in Spirito or something. You see it with Airbnb, this Inspirito, I think it's called, which is like a takeoff of inspiration, where you can rent these houses, longer term vacation homes, where people are staying. So don't fret. You're gonna have your base, I just don't see it yet around you. Okay.
Yeah, so I do need an income from home then, you know, so I do need to create something that I can do when I stay another house sitting or so. And I don't have that yet. So you know,
what's your background again, Kate? What do you do? Just something with computers, right?
You know, I taught in Japan and I taught English in Brazil. So I'm thinking of online ESL teaching.
Perfect. Start that.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are creating a very different way of living, and most people are going to have 3 to 5 resources, interests, sources of income, hobbies that turn into income. So there's the soul wants expansion. So so if you're feeling that nudge, you know, go for it. Go for it. All right. Thanks for calling in. Okay, I think our guestie is here. So if you didn't get your hold on, because probably Lon, we're going to chat, but we'll probably do some more readings, I think. I mentioned at the top of the program that she has these amazing oracle cards, also based on sacred geometry. I don't know if our first guest is still listener, part of the community, new person, guest. Anyway, if you have a question or comment, 347-539-5122. Let me just share a little bit about Lon if you're not sure, if you haven't heard about her on this podcast or other podcasts, or her amazing cards. Lon is a visionary. She's a mindset coach as well as a Nautilus and COVR Award-winning artist, also an author of these amazing oracle cards. She's got a few of them out, and I do think I saw something on Instagram that there is something new coming out based on Merlin, her Merlin magic book. Anyway, Lon uses sacred geometry design to address large concepts that are the basis of our human soul experience. So she puts these images in combination with her teachings through writing and books as well as oracle cards. So let's see. I just think I saw her. Let's pull her up here. Hang out with us, guys. Just stay on the line. Stay on the line. Get your tea or coffee. Hey, Lon, welcome.
Hi, Michelle. Hi. It's so nice to be back on your show. Hi.
Oh, yes. I know. I want to do something else with you that's coming up, something I'm cooking up. So I always enjoy when we come
yes.
Yeah, together.
And I was listening.
Yes,
I was listening in. Yeah, I was listening for the last 10 minutes. I loved your expression of hanging by tweezers over the Grand Canyon. Great visual.
Right?
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
It does. And they're big tweezers, but they're still tweezers. You know?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yes.
Oh, gosh. I love it. Couple things. First of all, and I don't know if he's still on the line, but we had a great question about use of sacred geometry, and I said I would ask you, or maybe he'll call back in. For power struggles or, getting into the highest, I was nudging in there to the highest vision and version of the situation, connecting. But like what kind of the sacred, maybe one of your cards or oracle cards or drawing a sacred geometric symbol to help anchor the wanting to dissolve the power struggle or the negative situation or the issue this person was talking about at work.
Right.
And I love that because it's kind of, you and I talked about it, like a yantra, right? It's like a yantra for meditation on the energy. What would you suggest?
Oh, I would work with the flower of life without a doubt. That came to mind right away when you started talking. And mostly because the flower of life, and for those people that don't know it, the flower of life is that symbol that I'm sure that you have seen somewhere that is like a whole bunch of circles that intersect in the middle. And they make this beautiful flower-like symbol, and it symbolizes, and it has for centuries and centuries, and throughout every continent and in a lot of different cultures, it symbolizes our human understanding of how everything is connected, right? So the way I would like to see it is like, by ourselves, we are a perfect circle, and our heart is in the perfect middle of that circle. And when we connect with somebody else and we are in relationship with them, that can be any kind of relationship, right? The way we interact with each other, with our colleagues, with our friends, with our parents, our family members, our neighbors, our partners, our children, then those circles, they start overlapping each other's, and they connect in the heart. And that's how we build relationship. I mean, I would like to see it that way. So when you talk about the power struggle, a power struggle has always to do with the fear of some sort of a scarcity, right? There is only a need to struggle for more power if you feel that there is not enough for you, right?
Exactly.
So it comes from the idea that there is a lack and there is scarcity.
Yeah.
So when we look at the flower of life, we get reminded that anything in existence in life is based on the same patterns, it has the same repetitions, and everything is connected. And we are always taken care of, and we're always exactly where we should be at the right time, at the right moment, if we learn how to read the subtle messages and the subtle signs that the universe is throwing our ways. And then there's no reason to struggle and to be afraid. And so I would work with the flower of life for sure.
Okay, love that. Okay. Yeah, that interesting, because I touched on earlier about the heart, the center. That's really our core, our
right,
kind of our grounding point too. It is the center of the core. So yeah,
it is,
like
and it's our center of intuition as well.
Yeah, it's very subtle. Now, do you find? I think we're going to be able to feel it more as we clear out more of this emotionalism, the drama, trauma, like soap opera emotions. Like we think that it's like yes, I got to do this, but it's very subtle the way it guides us. It's like I don't know. It's interesting. It's like a current. I think Sunray said in the chat, keep the current going. But I'm finding if I'm aligning through the heart, it's subtle, but then as I go towards what I want, the current gets stronger. It's like being carried in like in a river or something, right?
Yes. And also if something comes up and we feel like, oh my gosh, this is a sign of the universe and it's telling me to do something, even when that comes up for me, I still discern it, right? It doesn't mean that when something pops up in my head that I run out the door and and I run like in a busy traffic situation because that popped up in my head. I always discern it like, is this aligned, right? Is this aligned? And where is it coming from? Because sometimes our mind can be tricky as well. Sometimes our mind will come up with really clever ideas to get our attention. And it will bring a certain thought or something to the foreground, and we might think that was our intuition, right? So there's always it's a playing between learning to discern, like, what is this, where is it coming from, what is it triggering, or what did it get triggered from, and to sit with that for just a moment as well.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a situation where something tells you that you're in danger, then I would say act immediately, and because it doesn't really matter if it's true or not, but if you feel that, jump out of the way or, get yourself to safety for sure.
And you bring up a really great point here, which actually I was talking to a friend the other day because I had to really meditate on it. So I love what you're bringing up. In 2017 to 2018, I had 4 days of visions of the pandemic, everything that was going to be happening. And I told people closest to me and people I work with, and in those visions, I also had buy property in this certain place. And I thought, oh, okay, and it's at Airbnb, it'll be a good investment. But then I really wasn't in the space to do that, but I thought, okay, as soon as it's ready to do that, which I went this year and looked, and I stayed in the mountains where I was at. I was in Joshua Tree, and it had changed so much, and I felt it out, and, you know, I met some lovely people, reconnected with some people that I know in the area, and I just thought, oh, my God, maybe I don't know if I want to do that step. So I think this is so important, because sometimes there's an intermediary step to where we're going or what we're going to do, and that may no longer be necessary if we've shifted. And so I agree with you. If we just blindly go, because some of my friends were saying, oh, but you had this vision and everything was accurate, you know, are you going to do that? And I said, I'm going to go check it out in the present time, right, in my present vibrational frequency, and see, because there's a big difference between 2007, 2008, and 2022. So, Lon, let's explore this. How do we do, because it's, you know, one part can say everything else was accurate and panned out, and is it the ego that says don't do this? You know, how do we know that, okay, that directive isn't of the highest vibrational frequency, it isn't the most joy, wasn't going to be the most joy or fulfillment. Now when I think about buying someplace there and having it as a second home and, you know, renting it out, you can even hear it in my voice, I think, oh, God, it's going to be a lot of work and it's hot there.
Right. Well, it kind of goes back to what I was listening to the last guest that you had on the show, and you were talking about that sometimes the visions that we have, they manifest in our timeline in a later, you know, they don't manifest right away, they come later. And it could be that in the meantime we have shifted and we're on a different track, right? Okay. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the vision that we had back then, or what we thought that we wanted to do, or what would be aligned, that was at the time where you were at in the vibrational frequency that was aligned also with those thoughts and those feelings that you had back then. But we're in constant flux. Like, even if we look at the universe, and if we look at the quantum field, like in the place of unmanifested energy, where everything just exists as a potential, right? Every potential is present there. And you could almost see, like, okay, it could be like this, or it could be green, or it could be red, or it could be yellow, or it could be it could be purple, it could be square, it could be round, it could be all of that. And now the question becomes, like, what do you align the most with in this moment? So today you might, and I'm just using colors and shapes, but they're of course metaphorical for any situation, right? So it could be that today you would feel like, okay, I'm really drawn to circles today. That doesn't mean that now you have to put everything in your house and make it circular, right? Because maybe tomorrow you're going to wake up and you're going to be very drawn to a triangle. And maybe today you're more like a triangle. And it's so true what you were saying about how everything is, I feel like everything is much more in flux. And that comes with the whole territory of multidimensionality. Right? I mean, in 3D, it's a physical world, and it's much more stable. Like, a house is a house, a chair is a chair, a tree is a tree, and it pretty much stays there. So it's very solid, it's very firm, it's something we can count on, which is what we've been doing. Our three-dimensional world was full of, like, securities and certainties that we were counting on. And now that we're moving out of 3D, things become much more fluid. It's flowing, it's morphing, it's changing, and it's changing depending on how we feel and what we think and what we do. So we're in constant interaction with our surroundings and so the potentials that are showing up are different in each moment as well. And that can be really unnerving for a lot of people. You gotta kind of, it's like free falling. Yeah.
And even what's perceived to be solid, even though we know it's not really solid, we're feeling it. The 3D is, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing it and feeling it less solid. I feel
Oh yeah.
I want to say I feel the foundation or the structure, but even when I'm sitting on something, I can feel that it's moving. It's not really solid, you know.
Right. I don't know about you. I often feel it's almost like I can feel the breathing underneath it. Like I get this sense of that things are or almost like a humming in my ears, you know, especially if you sit somewhere where it's quiet. It just feels that everything goes like boom, boom, and it's just moving and breathing and singing and whispering. And I love it, but I think like you, I feel like I've been preparing for this many lifetimes, and I feel more at home right now on Earth than I've done at any point in my life, in my earlier life. So I like this, but I can totally see how there's so much possible now, and nothing is for certain, and I actually love that. I think for a lot of people it's unnerving. For me, it feels like nothing has to be that way. So that means that if I don't need to own my stories, I don't need to own my diagnoses or my labels or. Right? I can if I want to, or I can just discard them and go like, nah, that's not a story that I want to live. I'm going to write a different story with a different outcome and a different path.
Yeah, it's like, well, obviously, if we're looking at it from a quantum physics level, it's string theory. I'm thinking of this movie, The Sliding Doors. I don't even remember the whole movie, but I remember they kept sliding the door and they'd open, or it was a car door, and they get in and out, and then there's these multiple potentialities, and we are these potentiates. We have these multi-options, and I think that's one. A lot of what's freaking people out is we have more options, but you have to respond or wait till the right one opens, and of course the ego part, mine wants to make a decision on the options, or it's like, well, there was 2 options, 3 options, now there's 5 options, and it's like, oh no, which one? But it's almost like we're calling all these options or these timelines into existence then to see which one becomes the main one or the stronger one. You know, the energies of
we have a choice.
The other ones. We have a choice,
Yeah. And we're not used to it, right? I mean, we come from a paradigm and a belief system and an educational system, and our whole society, every institution, our educational system, our health system was based on basically putting the power outside of ourselves. It never really taught us how much we are at the core of everything that unfolds. So now, for a lot of people, that's a big jump. They want somebody to tell them, like, just tell me what to do, right? Tell me what the truth is. And the truth is that the truth is actually very fluid as well. There's not a lot of
truth.
Right. There's not a lot of things that are like the ultimate truth, right? Yeah. So, and I find that liberating, but I can also see that for a lot of people that is terrifying. That's like, I don't want to hear that, this is supposed to be solid. This is supposed to be just working that way. And I'm like, it could be working that way or not, if you don't want it to.
Yeah, if you don't want it to. Yeah, if you just wait or shift, do something and shift, a new opportunity comes in.
Right, yes.
And that's what people are having to understand. You have to kind of wait to respond to what you've set in motion through the universe, gathers that resonance, coherence, that momentum to be presented as choice. I think too, people have to get comfort with the quantum aspect of that. And I know that's a lot about your Merlin book, which I love. And was I right? Did I see on Instagram?
Yes.
Coming.
Yes, it is. Yes. I am so excited. Yes, it is coming. It is coming next year. We are deeply into the whole process. I wrote it all. All the cards are designed. We are now in the editorial phases. I'm very, very excited about it because it's. I feel like the book by itself almost is, especially. No, sorry, not the book, but the guidebook with the deck. if you read it, it's almost like you can read it as a book. I mean, I poured so much of what I already put in Modern Merlin, the book. A lot of it goes hand in hand with the deck. It stands on its own, and if you want to go deeper into it, then the book is definitely a great thing to go with it. But I feel this deck has so much about multidimensionality, your role in it, and how magical you really are, you know, magical in the sense like you can do things that you were never taught, that you could never even imagine, and that your logical brain might have a, you know, still like a really, like a challenge with. Mm-hmm. So, I love it. I'm thrilled. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let people know. Okay, because the book is Modern Merlin, Uncover Your Magical Powers, a new paradigm for a new time. That's it, a new paradigm for a new time. Reclaiming the magician part of us, the creative, and get people to see that creative isn't, I made a picture, I wrote a poem. It's creating our life, essentially.
Right.
You know, like you're talking moment to moment.
Mm-hmm. And our ability to co-create, so to be in partnership with the universe, in the sense like you can learn how to just become more aware of all the subtleties that are constantly showing up. For me, when I take a walk and I have a butterfly flying right in front of my face, I choose to take that as an invitation to contemplate the concept of transformation, because butterflies kind of are symbolic of transformation, right? So I don't see it as any prediction or anything. I just see it as an invitation of the universe putting that in front of me like, hey, how about transformation? How are you doing with that? Do you want some? Do you not? Do you feel like you're in the midst of it? Or would you like more of that? I feel like I'd like to see all of that as invitations. So we have a choice.
Yes. And that's it, allowing us as the quantum field, the unified field of consciousness made manifest, allowing ourselves to be in the living, breathing life in communication with everything and everyone. And then it turns on this magical, surreal experience, where, as you said, then we're living as these co-creators constantly in communication or communing with life itself, with source, you know. We've got Queen in the chat saying, I came here. Welcome. I was drawn here today because of sacred geometry. Oh, great, Queen. All right. Well, let's open it up if you want to. Let's callers. I don't know if we got was it John, the first caller? Let's just see what anybody has to say or ask or share.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, why not? Let's see here. Hi, you're on air. You're on with Lon and Michelle. Hi.
Hi, this is Sunny. And I actually called before Lon came on, although I'd be delighted to get your input also. I've been in a situation where there's construction going on right next to my apartment. I'm in Ecuador, and apparently they're refurbishing a hotel, and I've been really happy with my apartment up until all this happened. And I'm wondering whether this is going to get any better. It was supposed to just last for 3 weeks, and now it's been going on for almost 4 months. And I'm wondering whether or not I should be seriously looking for someplace else, even though I really love this, almost everything else about this place. I'm just kind of wondering.
So that's your question.
Yeah, my question is, should I be seriously looking for another place to move, or are things going to settle down here, is that a clear enough question?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want me to say something about it, or what do you want to do, Michelle?
Sure. Yeah.
Let us just
both ways.
On. What do you? I can feel you got a message coming through.
Right. As soon as you started talking, I immediately felt that what they were showing me, like, most constructions, they're temporary. And of course, temporary is a very flexible concept, as you are finding out, where temporary was supposed to be 3 weeks and now it's a couple of months. I would say, like, it is totally up to you. Just know that it is temporary. There will be an end to the construction, so it will go back to a peaceful place. But if this is bringing you so much out of your own inner harmony and balance that it's really affecting you, then I would look around. On the other hand, my invitation to you and what they were showing me as well is like to realize that now that we are moving more into a multidimensional reality, it's going to get more complex. It is not going to slow down. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like we're being offered, instead of juggling 4 eggs before, and then we got 6 eggs, now we have 10 in the air. They're going to offer us more and more eggs, and we are learning how to stay balanced on the inside, and regardless of what's going on around us. You know, it's like learning to meditation in a cave where there is nothing going on is easy. Now try meditating in the middle of Times Square.
Oh, and see if you can still. And I feel like that it's been my teacher. I've learned all kinds of strategies for for staying centered and all of that. But at times it is getting wearing.
I can imagine that, but what a gift as well, right? How this has been a teacher, and how it's teaching you how to cope and how to find new tools and extend yourself in a different level to find inner peace.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would.
Thank you for that.
Sunny. Yeah, I'll scoot you off and I'll give my input, and then we'll get to the next one. Okay, sweetie.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in. Lots of love.
Michele.
Whoops. Disappeared. Hello. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Michele, this is still Sunny. I was wondering if you have anything to add also. I was hoping you did.
The same thing in all, because I feel like what you're going through is individual to you, but also to so many. It's acceptance of what is and being where you're at, because I feel vibrationally you could move and there would be something else. So I feel a lot of us are getting these kinds of messages. I've even been traveling, and there was a funny smell in the kitchen. There's all these different things, and I just I was complaining about it. And I'm not saying don't complain. I feel complaining, kvetching is always a good thing, but you got to, at some point we got to pull back, right? And I pulled back, and then I went, whoa, look at you with all the physical comfort that's bugging you, You got the mosquitoes, you got this, you got that, and the heat and this. And I just let go of it. And I was like, you know what? It is what it is. I brought it into my meditation. And I mean my meditation off the mat, not just sitting down, but my meditation in my life. This is the circumstances of where it is, and bringing it in and just allowing it. Now, why I say, and Sunny, thank you for that. I'm going to put you back on hold because I hear that. I know it's annoying. I can hear it in the background. I feel for you. I do. But sometimes those situations, if we try to run from them, they come in the same form or another form that's just as irritating. So I don't think it's going to be that much longer for you, but I'm just seeing you're going to have to, like Lon was saying, kind of embrace it and move into it somehow. Maybe it's get you out of the house to go for a walk, or to do something else, or go to a museum, or create art, or do Tai Chi on the lawn. I don't know. But I do feel that it's part of the process of your next unfolding for a lot of people as well. All right, Sunny, thanks for calling in. Lots of love. Oops, I guess I had already turned it off. Yeah, wow, Lon. I got the same thing. I was like, and then I had my own little experience with it. We're always learning. Always learning.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, if we can start looking at our lives that way, that anything that comes our way that we'd like to label either good or bad, if we start looking at it as more neutral and find the treasure, then it becomes it's kind of like a game, it's like a treasure hunt. Like, what is the treasure that we can learn being in these circumstances? And for her, she even knows that it's going to be temporary. But right now with, global warming and
Yeah.
what's going on for a lot of people, it might not be temporary. This might, a lot of these circumstances might be permanent or repeating every year. So what are we going to do? Are we all going to move, or are we going to learn how to adjust and adapt?
And I feel, and that's a really good point, because this part of the awakening has so much to do with the embodiment of the higher vibrational frequency, or the new emerging consciousness energies, or however you want to put it. It's so physical that there seems to be, my God, we manifested a pandemic, even though it was, helped along by human people, an agenda. It still was physical. It's calling in our immune system, our physicality, our heart, our organs, our discomfort. Like you said, it's warm, things are too warm or they're too cold. And no, I think that for at least as long as, if we look at it astrologically, Uranus is in Taurus, we're going to be dealing with the earth changes and physicality, the body, discomfort. Right. And I agree with you. I just don't know that we can escape it. I don't know. I know
I don't
people
know if
that
we're supposed to. I think it's I think part of the journey. I think it's part of the journey of moving through the dimensions, right? Where centuries ago we were much more only focused on the three-dimensional, and now we are transitioning into a very different reality. And of course that's going to come with challenges and things that we don't understand and that we need to learn, and we'll adapt. It also brings out our creative and innovative and original nature of curiosity, and I think we're going to see amazing new innovative inventions and solutions coming from new generations in ways, in originality that we can't even imagine right now. It's right? Don't you feel that too?
Oh, absolutely. And even with ourselves, I find myself thinking more and more outside the box, or like, I didn't look at it that way. Let me try this, or let me do that.
Right.
What do you suggest to help people? Because what I feel is, I don't know, I keep saying this over and over, somehow we have to get out of a fixed mindset and just allow ourselves to look at things differently or try different things. That I don't know any other way around it. It just feels like that's where we're being nudged, guided, and for some pushed,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I love in a lot of situations, because a lot of this has to do with the mind, right? It's our cognitive part of our brain that keeps us want to lock us up in an old mindset, literally, that causes this fear. So I'd like to come up with tools that satisfy and assure the mind that it's okay, because once your mind is on board, you will find the way to your heart. It's going to be so much more clear and easy to get into, right?
That's
so
what you got to use.
me,
that's why I like cards. Books, cards are one thing.
Yep. And that's why I love science. That's why I include that in my books, and my cards are a pretty down to earth way of explaining things as well. Because if you can scientifically explain what's going on, even if it's something very mystical or esoteric or magical, but if we can put some science behind it and understand it better, then we can just get out of the way. Then it's like, oh, okay, so that for one is a tool. So get educated, learn about what is all this. Right. So what is this all about? This whole talk about fifth dimension and multidimensionality, and what is the science behind that? Learn a little bit about quantum, learn a little bit about energy and how everything is energy, and maybe a little bit about how our brains work, right? What happens when we go inside and we go in meditative state. It actually does something literally to our brain waves, and that causes all kinds of reactions in the body, in the physical body. So we can actually help our bodies to make hormones that make us feel better by putting ourselves in a different state with our minds. I mean, how cool is that? We are a chemical factory ourselves, right? So if you find yourself anxious or angry or triggered, you have tools that you know that are going to make you feel better. Go work out, right? Go take a walk, go to the gym, do a yoga class, go do something physical, because physicality and getting your heart rate up and sweating and all of that actually releases the happy feeling hormones in your body. Mm-hmm. And you will look at a problem very different after a workout than if you stay stuck and sitting paralyzed on the couch and going like, oh my gosh, I can't see it, I can't see it, I can't see it. So that is one of the tools.
Good.
So,
I like that. The other thing I'm thinking too, as you were talking, is that the reason learning something new. Like I like studying a lot of different, like you said, science, a lot of podcasts, books, and seeing how, like you said earlier, puzzle piece. I think we have to get kind of in like the games theory of this, which of course is very Merlin,
right,
which is about magic, right? We have to get back in the game. The playfulness, like I'll watch different things that are just so divergent, and then I see the common thread, and then that relaxes me. I'm like, whoa, it is here, it's happening. You know, this person saying this situation, this book, this podcast, this, and then you start seeing that there really is this cohesive plan and unfolding. There really is this design. You know, it really is happening. So I don't. Yeah, I like that. Get back in the playfulness and do the research, and we have to be like pioneers, you know.
Yeah, it's
going through new
kind
land.
of approach is like look at how children approach life, right? When they find something new, it's like, ooh, it's exciting, and you know, it's like jumping off something high into the water for the first time. It is terrifying, and they stand there forever, and they go like, oh my gosh, am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? And they giggle, and they get in this mode, and then they finally do it, and they do fine with it, and next time it's not going to be a problem anymore. So kind of finding that inner child, you know, and remember like how exciting life was when you were a child and things were, you know, new and you were curious and you were playful, and I think that's the attitude that we really want to go into.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We got another call. We got a couple more callers here. Hi, you're on air. Hello. Hello, hello. Whoops, disappeared.
Hello.
Hi, you're on
you
air.
Just unmuted.
Yeah, you. What happened?
So I tuned in today for this because I am totally experiencing this. It's sort of getting me a little bit crazy at times.
And what's your first name?
Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
And so I will
Hi, Jessica.
see. Hey, I will see like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I will see like, okay, I see things are lining up. I'm having this. This is the type of job I want to get. I end up pulling into interviews about it, and then and I'm like, okay, well, and then I'm going to get the job, and then I'm going to move, and I see all these dominoes line up, and then I don't know what happens. My mind must have gone and created something different, or it wasn't in alignment, and then the opportunities just disappear. Even before I was able to like really do an interview with someone on the phone or a second interview or what. And it's been upsetting to me because the old tactics that we used for manifestation just don't work. And if anything, I don't know, I just can't seem to connect to something in the physical. Like I keep waiting for something to manifest because I'm wanting to move places and do this, step into this new career, and I'm tired. It's been going on for several months, and I'm like, I need to just relax and not bother with any of it, but I'm not in a situation that is really relaxing because of my living situation as well. It's not relaxing here at all. So it's
well, you
are
nutty. Right. Go ahead, Lon. I mean, she is manifesting etherically, and it sounds like you're shifting enough that it goes right out. Getting more ideal, right?
Maybe that's
well, we talked about it. Well, it's you as the universe you're looking for a denser physical. You know, Lana and I were talking about how things aren't as they're not as dense. You're looking for a denser physical manifestation that's in becoming. It's in form. I don't know, Lon. Jessica, I'm going to put you on hold. Please listen as we chat about this. Thank you for this great input. What's your thought, Lon?
My thought is that like that and please better to the universe.
Yeah.
You know, when something comes along. Right. Like just like this or something better. So if you find an opportunity or a job opportunity that you find that you really resonate with and you feel like, oh my gosh, this is me, I am perfect for this, and then it turns out to just be a dead-end street, I would take that opportunity to look at like, okay, what was it in this description of the job that was so exciting to you? Like which parts of you were lit up because of what you were applying to, and then work with that like, okay, so the universe was telling you it is coming your way, the opportunity is there, but there's actually something better. So if not this, then something better. So I would just keep on going, taking it as kind of like a stairwell, right?
Yeah. No, I love that. The other thing that I was guided years ago from the guides, before all this happened, I think it was like 2011, I was told that because we're going to be manifesting more from our higher self, our higher vibrational aspect of us, from the soul, that, and you even said it, Jessica, that you know, the old ways of manifesting. So we manifested a lot from our ego. I mean, we're always creating, always manifesting. It just depends on the frequency and resonance.
Right.
Is it from wounding, right? Is it from ego? So what I was told is that a lot of things that we want to call into form either aren't going to happen or aren't going to stick. So we don't get ourselves in a little delay or cul-de-sac or, you know, could be harm's way or it could be just an inconvenience. So we have to, in a way, like what you're saying, Lon, we have to kind of give up that part, do what we can, and then I like what you're saying. If this or something better, whatever it is, it's like, okay, it's almost here, that's it, but obviously something better is coming in because it just went out. You know?
Right. And definitely do take a look, you know, kind of analyze, use that part of your brain for sure, kind of analyze like, because then you can become very intentional with what you do want to draw in, right? What was it exactly about that job that was so exciting? Like what part was it? Was it something creative? Was it maybe the teamwork involved? Was it that there was a lot of freedom? Was it right up your alley, like what it was about? Find that, and then, you know, it's kind of like a recipe. It's like cooking, right? You find a recipe, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious. And then when you eat it, you go like, I can do it better. I can add something. I can get creative with it. Yeah. So what is it? Use it as a basis, as a foundation. And then mix up a recipe for an even better manifestation. Yeah. And try to stay out of frustration. Let that flow through you really, really quickly, because it's very easy to get stuck there, and it's not very productive. Or it might be productive that you start manifesting more of what you are frustrated about now. So just let it go. Just go like, oh, man, I thought that this would go differently. It didn't. What did I learn? What am I going to take with me? What am I going to leave behind? And off we go again.
Yeah. And I like what you said, because our tastes change. You know, our tastes change in food and how we spice things.
Right.
Our tastes change in what we're manifesting. And by the way, Lon, you were right, because my manifestation of that house and renting it out, that was a manifestation from a few years earlier. I was looking at that and researching it. So you're right. It came through, but I no longer needed it or wanted it. And I like what you're saying. Ask, you know, what's on about this? What's right about this? I always like also to focus on the qualities, you know, the energy and the quality of the people in the situation and the circumstances. And I find if I focus on the qualities, right, and how I want to feel, I get what I want,
Absolutely.
But the form might change. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it's good to remember also that human timelines are not like quantum timelines. So I find that manifestation goes quicker and quicker. these days. But sometimes, like what you experience as well, sometimes, right, you're a couple of years into it and now this opportunity is there, something that was really exciting to you a few years ago, and now you feel into it and you go like, yeah, it doesn't really excite me that much anymore. So don't sweat it. It's like, okay, I've outgrown that idea. Thank you for bringing it to me. Something better, please.
Yeah, I like that. Ooh, thank you for bringing it to me and something better. Okay, guys, trying to get in at the last couple here. I know a lot of you have been waiting. Hi, you're on air. Welcome. Hello.
Hello, hi. This is Daniel Chong.
Hello, Daniel. Hi.
Hi. I have a question. Actually, I just looked at Lang's website and saw her sacred geometry art, and I love it very much, especially the colors and also the form of yes, very beautiful. And
thank you.
It makes me think about the shapes of chakras that some people are able to see, that they're rotating vortexes, like energy centers, like in different parts of human body. And I wonder if any of your drawings has any connections with the shapes and the colors of chakras.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The shapes, and I actually, each deck that I created has the 7 chakra cards in them. And they are, in my first deck, they are represented as the flower of life in different color. And in the second deck, they are represented more as like, as a flower shape, more like a lotus kind of shape. So yes, I totally see that. And the way I create is always like I tune into the energy and I translate that in the shapes. And of course, the energy really is alive and it breathes and it morphs and it changes all the time. And you can't really do that in an art piece because I'm still working two-dimensional. But in my experience, when you look at my pieces, it often looks like it's moving. And I get that feedback a lot, especially from my soul portrait clients. They say like, oh man, I look at my portrait this morning and I saw things moving. And things that I didn't even see yesterday are now sticking out. So it feels like it's alive. And I love that aliveness, because that's what you're talking about, right? That aliveness of the energy.
Yes, I heard that some people are able to see the chakras and auras, and they're able to see that the chakras actually rotating clockwise and sometimes counterclockwise, and in exactly the kind of arts that you drew and you made, and especially the colors too. And I learned that there are different colors representing different chakras. And I wonder I want to see, have you ever like experienced anyone who, or maybe yourself, are able to actually visualize or actually see the auras or chakras of a person?
I don't see it like the way you are describe it, but it is hard to describe how our intuition or our sense for that works, right? Because I can tell though. I can tell when I look at somebody if there's a lot of straight lines or if there is, or a certain color comes to mind. I always feel that for me I'm more clear cognizant maybe. So it's not so much that I see literally with my eyes, with my physical eyes. I do not see the color yellow, but when I look at the person, the color yellow comes up in my mind, and I'm thinking about yellow. So it's still kind of a mystery to me how that exactly works. You know, if you could say like, okay, I'm seeing it, or am I sensing it and translating it, or does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle.
Do you see colors, Michele?
I do, but I also see them in the way that you see them. Sometimes if I look around the person, if I get in that kind of more meditative state and look around, I will see the color. But if I want to, that takes effort. But otherwise, I see it in the same way that you do, that it's, I don't know, psychic eyes. And even when people have been doing photography, it's been shown right, but it almost feels like that's looking with the regular eye, the physical eye, there's an extra step there. And so you can use that or not use that step. I'm with you. I don't know what you would call it because you see it, but you intuit it. And it might come through as a color or the word. So I don't know what that's called actually.
There's a translation step there somewhere, right? It feels like my brain or my mind is translating the energy that I'm picking up, and it's translating it into that's yellow or something. Because I'm not seeing yellow the way, if somebody would wear like a yellow shirt, that's different. I'm not seeing it like that. But some people I think do, or at least that's
Well, I do sometimes, but I will say that there is more of an effort there to, like now I'm going to look at your aura rather than the psychic part or psychic eye coming in and giving you the message. So I think when you're using your physical eye, there is an extra step there. Now maybe the brain in the psychic way of seeing it's like that step is sublimated somehow. It's somehow subsumed.
Yes,
in.
And I get that question a lot, and I'm sure that you do too as an intuitive, like, where people, when I first meet them, they go like, what do you see? What do you see? And I always try to explain, like, for one, it doesn't work that way. I would have to intend to see, and even if it would work that way, I wouldn't do that. I think that's a very personal and sacred thing to do, to look at somebody on that level. So I would never do that without asking for permission or being invited to do it. So it's not that if I meet somebody, I automatically get all that information. Like you said, I would have to intend that and tune in, and make an effort or
a lot of effort.
Something like that, right? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think we got one last caller, which may be Queen, and then in case we get cut off, you can find Lon at
lawn-art.com. Yes.
.com. lawn-art.com. And we've been talking about her oracle cards and her recent book, Modern Merlin, Uncover Your Magical Powers, a new paradigm for a new time.
I have a very fun little 5-minute magic quiz that you can do on my website. It takes 5 minutes, and it will tell you what kind of a magician you are and what kind of a magical superpower you have. So it's fun to do. It doesn't take long, and it's for free. So
fun. That sounds good. Okay, let's see. Hi, you're on air.
It does sound like fun, and I'm always on air because I'm air. How are you?
Good. So we got just, I don't know, seconds to minutes. Queen, you're on air with Lon.
I would say that I was guided here by the sacred geometry. I had been looking at Sri Yantra. And one thing led to another. And I come to this awakenings often, but I had to be called here through your energy. And while I was waiting, I thought, maybe this is telling me that I might be entering into a more geometrical experience, because I'm very abstract and flowing and, like the sky changing eternally like we all are. But I'm going to leave that with you all, and I'm so grateful that I got in, and thank you. And I will come back and listen to the whole experience.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, we'll do it again, and you can call in earlier. We had a lot of people in the queue. Those of you that didn't see you, Queen, thanks for calling in. You didn't get to chat or say hi. I'm here next week, and Lon will be here again at some point, sometime.
I'd love to.
Lon, this
time flies by so quickly, and it feels that there's so much to cover and to talk about, right?
I know, yeah. I mean, really. Good stuff. Great stuff. Well, I am glad that I read that right on the Instagram, my little part of the stream there. and saw that you've got of course, your book, Modern Merlin, Uncover Your Magical Powers, A New Paradigm for a New Time. But next year comes the Oracle cards.
Yes.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, do you know around when?
Probably in the fall.
Okay.
And that seems a really long time away, but it's gonna fly by. The process of making this and printing it and distributing it all over the world is usually a very long process. So, but it's in the works. So we already planted the seed. The energies are already working. So it's coming rolling at us like a wave. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, people can get the book, familiarize themselves with the book. You have other cards, and then they'll be ready for when the Oracle cards come out for Modern Merlin book. I love it. Oh, Lon, this is so great. Oh, wonderful as always to connect with you, and I look forward to the next time.
Me too. Thank you so much for inviting me. Let's see.
Yeah.
Speak to you soon again.
See you soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. And love connecting with all of you as well. Thank you, those that called in, those of you in the chat. If you didn't get a question answered, you called in for a reading, you can connect next week. All right? And as always, until next time, continue to shine your light, share your insights, and keep awake.
Awakenings broadcast every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michelle's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.